catch me balling like I'm in the end zone. I got my homies in the no new friend zone. You know, making plays that land us in the end zone. Coming in clutch, you can catch me in the end zone. End zone.
What is happening, people, and welcome back to In the End Zone UK, your home for all things NFL and much more. We are deep into the NFL season. This one, I'm calling the end is near, because let's be honest, the season is flying by with only 4 game weeks left. The playoff picture is starting to take shape. Every game, every drive, every mistake, every touchdown, it all counts double now. It's that time of year where there is no more messing around. And with me to talk all things game week, I have a full In the End Zone UK squad today. Perfect situation for a perfect game week. Here to talk to me this week, all of our teams got a win, which is an incredibly rare occurrence. But to start with, Big Dave, Tennessee Titans. Titans win, second win of the season. You're on the poddy. Feel free to celebrate. Feel free to dance in your pants. How are you doing this week, Dave?
All good. You know, I think I'm probably the one that holds us back from having an all-winning team constantly, because my team is doggus shitus. But yeah, got the big win this week. Looking forward to speaking about it.
Good stuff. It was impressive. I like to see it, and it is incredibly rare that we have this momentous occasion with all 3 In the End Zone UK team members winning. Camo. Lil Camo on the mic. His team also won. Big one. Divisional. Packers. Cheesy. Go Pack Go. How are you, Camo?
Yeah, great. Who doesn't love beating the Bears? That's the thing. Bears still suck. So,
Ooh,
yeah.
The rivalry is real.
Big win. Big divisional one. Yeah. Good week. Good week for it.
Good stuff. Exactly, and that's the thing. It's a big week, because every week until the rest of the season is a big week. Until the end of the season is a big week. The pressure is on, and this game week gave us some massive results in terms of the playoff picture. We have got teams that we expect to potentially be championship or Super Bowl bound, not even going to make the playoffs or looking unlikely to. We've got teams that we never expected to make the playoffs or make a Super Bowl. Cough, cough, Seahawks. Also potentially in the mix as well. So loads to talk about on this podcast. We've obviously, all 3 of us are here. We've got all the segments. We've got Slap or Sign. We've got game recaps. We've got the Monday Night Football game to look forward to. But what I want to do is get into segment 1 and talk game of the week. And this week, game of the week was a snowy spectacle. It comes from the city of Buffalo, where the Bills hosted the Cincinnati Bengals in what was one of the more entertaining games of the season. At first, it looked like the Bengals were going to dominate, blow the Bills out of the park. Joe Burrow and the Bengals offense were rolling early, carving up the Bills, taking control of the game. But you can never count out Josh Allen. Buffalo mounted an unbelievable comeback, clawing their way back in the cold, mainly capitalizing on a few key Joe Burrow mistakes and rallying behind their home crowd in the snow. Final score, Bills 39, Bengals 34. And it was a great game to watch, an opening game on the red zone, an early slate of games, big playoff implications for the Buffalo Bills, potential sort of shot in the dark for the Bengals. But I mean, I loved it. I thought it was great. Burrow and Allen are 2 of the best QBs in the game. Dave, what did you make of this game of the week? It had a bit of everything, really, didn't it? It was a hell of a game in the snow.
Yeah, I always feel like these games, these cold weather games especially, play into Josh Allen's hands so much, because he can just do what others can't. He's not a finesse runner like Lamar Jackson. He's see a hole, run for it, run over a defender, run over a linebacker. And I think a snow game just plays into that so much. I was watching it with the missus, and she's obviously a Bills fan. And it was so strange. I just said to her, I think Josh Allen, even though they were down by 2 scores at the time, I said that I just feel like Josh Allen's just going to pick this team up and carry it.
That's what he did.
Yeah, literally. And I think the 2 back-to-back picks from Joe Burrow, who's looked great since he's come back, but you cannot give them a pick 6 and then another short field. You can't do that to a team that when you're desperate for win and they're desperate for win, in their house in the snow, you can't give Josh Allen those short fields. I mean, I think the score maybe is a little bit closer than what it should be. Cook obviously fumbled into the end zone as well, didn't he? So
he did, yeah. That was another score on the board for the Bills that got wiped out last second, yeah.
Yeah, it was a great game, but I think ultimately Josh Allen's just a bit more of a let me take this. He's not really a finesse kind of guy. He's just a put the team on my back, let's go. Whereas Burrow, I think, still. I mean, that the first pick that he threw was horrific. He just threw the ball up in the air, tried to pass it over a linebacker, and he just got caught out, didn't he?
He did. Yeah, it's unfortunate because the game started with the Bengals really taking it to the Bills. It was 21 points in the first half for the Bengals to, I think, a Buffalo Bills 11, I think is what it was. But of all of the superstardom that Burrow brought to the first half, I feel like, exactly as you said, Dave, Allen decided that it was time to stop messing about in the snow and actually keep hold of the ball, put it in the hands of the only person that he seemingly trusts, really, and that's himself. He does it so often. I mean, he accounted for all four of the Bills' touchdowns. Obviously, he threw 3 passes for a touchdown and then ran one in himself. But he had 78 yards on the ground, which is too shy of James Cook, who carried the ball twice as often as he did. He had 250 yards through the air, 139 passer rating. It's amazing. It's amazing. And it's amazing considering that on the other side of the ball, you've got one of the best quarterbacks to do it as well, looking healthy, looking good, just making 2 horrific mistakes. But Burrow threw for 4 touchdowns. Can't ask really the man to do much more until it got too late. This was a great game. T. Higgins stepping up, Dawson Knox. They're such a tight end-led game, the Bills. Knox and Kincaid doing absolute bits when the receivers can't do anything. I'd love to see this Bills team with a bona fide number 1 receiver. I feel like it would be such a game changer now that they've got this formula of a 2 tight end team. I know that they've had Stephon Diggs in the past and stuff, but their team now as it is, if you could throw somebody in there that could change the game, like an AJ Brown or something like that, I think it would just make them so much more difficult to beat. Camo, game of the week. Obviously, we've spoke about Josh Allen and Joe Burrow, but I was also quite impressed with the Bengals defense to start the half, I guess. What do you make of this game of the week?
Yeah, for me, these complete 2 different contrasting teams in their style of play. The Bengals tried to play pretty delicate sort of football with Joe Burrow with his passing, whereas the Bills, like I say, they don't have any flashy wide receivers or anything. It is all about just going to run and bang into somebody and get over the line and that's just for me the different styles that they've got. And obviously, with it being a cold weather game, I was surprised at how many air yards there were. I was surprised it wasn't more just on the ground throughout the entire game. But turnovers, man, they kill any momentum. That's the thing. You can throw for 4 touchdowns, but if you're throwing a touchdown the other way and giving them a 20-yard field, it sort of negates a lot. Ultimately, the Bills had to win this one. Yeah, I know the Bengals had to win it. They're now probably out. But in realistic chances, they weren't making the playoffs anyway.
Yeah.
So, sucks for them. They're trying to just put some bits down and find some rhythm. The Bills had to get the win and the chance to make it in. They had that win. So I think that's sort of where it came down to. Find a way.
Yeah.
And fair play. Defenses. I mean, the Bills, like I say, turn them over. You can't ask that Bengals defense to stand up all game. They're not built for it.
No, that's right. They did more than enough in the first half to hold Josh Allen in the snow to 11 points. And then just the floodgates open in the fourth. Buffalo scored 21 points in the fourth quarter because of those turnovers, which is a huge swing and a huge tide turner. But you're right, Cam, as you say, the air yards in this game, 280 for Burrow, 250 for Josh Allen. But I think Higgins
was great.
Yeah, Higgins was class and Josh was just spreading it out. But I think that just goes to show that there are quarterbacks and then there are quarterbacks. And these 2 guys have got 2 of the best arms in the game. Obviously, Allen's got the power, Burrow's got the finesse, but it doesn't matter what conditions you're in when you're players. Like when you're that caliber, you can still sling that rock in the snow. And it was great to see because as much as I like a snow game, it's a bit, rough and ready and all over the place and sliding on the floor and stuff. I do still like football and I still want to watch that. So I think this gave us a bit of everything, a bit of everything, some turnovers, some fumbles, some mistakes, but both quarterbacks did as much as they could to try and get their team to win. And it was a must win for Buffalo. As I said at the start of the podcast, everything means double now. Like we're so close towards the end. Every win is so big. Every loss is so big that the Bills needed to come through this. And if they're going to hang in that AFC, they need to continue to win, and they have done. So they're 9-4, and the Bengals go to 4-9. And I don't statistically think they're out just because of how poop the AFC North is, and there's no clear front runner. But I think they're definitely more towards out of the playoffs than they are in it after that loss. So unfortunate, but I think the better team ultimately won on the day, and the better quarterback that's built for the snow, I think ultimately won on the day as well. So that's it. That's our game of the week. Bills, Bengals, Bills getting the win. We now move in to our favourite segment, always our favourite segment. We go into slap or sign. And as always, if you're new here, just to give you a rundown, each week we pick 2 players, 2 from the AFC, 2 from the NFC. They either get a slap for an awful performance or they get a sign for stepping up and helping their team ball out. Let's start with the NFC. And Dave, I'm coming to you for your NFC sign. Who impressed you the most during game week 15 in the NFC?
I'm signing Brandon Aubrey, who is the kicker for the Dallas Cowboys. This could have easily been the game of the week, by the way. Just even like going back through, just looking at some of the stats that some of these players put up. Oh my god! But Brandon Aubrey to start off with, he was 5 for 5. Didn't miss a kick this week. Longest was 63. He makes 63 yard. I mean, 63 was the NFL record for like 40 years, and he made like his last kick was a 63 yarder.
Yeah.
He's been the best kicker for probably the last 2 or 3 seasons in the league. He's automatic. If only the Cowboys had a defense to try and like prop these, because even Dak's playing out of his skin this season. But there are only a few kickers. I feel like you never generally get consistent kickers forever. There's certain people like Nick Folk is automatic. He's been automatic for like the last 15 years, but he can't kick a 60. Like I think his longest is like 58 yards. Then you've got obviously Justin Tucker, who had the record. What did Matey Boy kick?
Cam Little kicked a 67-yarder, is it? Yeah, 66 or 67, something like that.
Yeah, there's few kickers that Justin Tucker was obviously elite for years when he had like the highest kicking percentage for such a long time.
Yeah.
Brandon Aubrey feels to me like this next guy who's going to be elite for like 10 years. You just don't get him like this like Younghoe Koo for 3 or 4 years was unbelievable. He now can't even stick on a team, can he? I think he's on the Giants team, but when Greg Gano comes back, he'll fall back off. And he was amazing for such a long time. Carlson
from the Raiders, yeah.
Raiders, he's another good kicker, but there's such an elite part of a team that you need to have a good kicker. How many teams have won or like lost games, lost playoff
Super Bowls,
because people can't kick.
Yeah,
and I just think that the Cowboys, they need to keep hold of this dude forever because he is unbelievable. He, like you said earlier, he never looks like he's going to miss.
No, I was obviously this was you've taken us all the way back to the Thursday night game with this one, and I was watching it just thinking he never ever looks like he's going to miss, and he's obviously missed 1 or 2, I don't know whenever, but it's such a luxury to have a kicker that you could just be 60 yards out with and go, do you know what? Okay, look, if the drive stalls, this is still points, and whether the Cowboys have actually really leveraged that position to be in recent years, probably not. But imagine if you were in a contention and all you needed to do was keep the points ticking over, and that you knew as soon as you got within 60, it's basically a guaranteed field goal. It just makes you the play calling that you use more open because you can take more risks because you know that where you are, you're still going to gain points. It means that you can rely on yourself to keep that points ticking over and making sure that the scoreboard keeps moving to keep the other team having to score. It's such an underrated position to have an automatic kicker. And there aren't many automatic kickers in the league. I'd probably say he's the only kicker in the league right now that feels automatic. I genuinely believe that.
Yeah, well, he's already set the record for the most 60-yarders kicked in a season.
Yeah, which is wild.
And to think that, like you say, with these dynamic kickoffs, you get a decent run back. You're only 1 or 2 plays away from him being able to do something.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? Bless you.
He's missed 2 kicks this year.
Yeah,
which is crazy. He's had a game. So 5 field goals, 3 field goals, 2 field goals, 1, 2, 1, 3. But like it's the consistency he hits with. He's at a 63-yarder, 61-yarder, 64-yarder. He's just an absolute stud, and I think that once you've got those kickers, you need to keep hold of them.
He's probably had more fantasy points than a lot of wide receivers this year, to be honest.
He has, yeah. I think, what did I see? I'm not going to give you the exact positions and get them right, but he was
he's had more than Barkley.
Yeah, he's like running back. If he was a running back, he'd be the 12th running back. If he was the wide receiver, he'd be like 8.
That's crazy.
It's mental, yeah. He's like QB 22.
Yeah.
He's had more. I don't know. The guy, he's a beast. I've had him for the last couple of seasons in fantasy, and every year, I mean, he had 20 points this week.
Yeah, it's crazy.
The guy's a beast.
Nice, Brandon Aubrey. Very rarely do we sign kickers. I like it, Dave. You're handing out the good news to the people that deserve it. Most of the time, if we ever slap anybody, we're slapping a kicker for missing like a game winner or something like that, shanking it wide left. But to be able to hand out some kudos to a kicker, I like it. It's nice. Camo, are you going with a kicker or are you giving us someone else?
Yeah, I might take it somewhere else. And this one pains me. I'm not going to lie. You're going to be happy.
Me or Dave?
You.
Okay.
Signing a Seahawk player.
Okay.
Amanwari.
Oh, big Nick Amanwari.
Turning this game on its head because the Falcons kept you close in this first half. You looked a little bit ropey, but Amanwari turned up with a sack, a tackle for loss, an interception, a blocked field goal in this game. There's only ever been 2 players to do that in one game. The other one is Leonard Williams, also of the Seattle Seahawks.
He did that last year.
Yeah. So that is doing things that not many people have ever done in a single game. And it absolutely just turned this game on its head. It gave you that breathing space, and then you just opened it up and looked very comfortable the rest of the way. Because, the way that some of these divisions are lined up right now, a win is so crucial. And you needed that win to sort of keep pace in your division, in the conference, to be in with that shot of the number 1 seed. Yeah, big shot, especially for a rookie, man. Like, what a day.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to talk about the Falcons because I think
Don't worry.
Yeah.
I am going to talk about the Falcons in just a little while, so leave that to me. But whilst we're talking about Nick Amanwari, I'm sure you guys, maybe if you remember or not, but I'm sure you guys remember when I was going into this draft how high on Amanwari I was before the Seahawks had even taken him. I was sat there going, if we don't take a guard, which is what we need, this is the guy. Like Nick Amanwari, I've been watching college tape in terms of our defense and how he should play, looking at Mike McDonald and the Kyle Hamilton sort of likeness. I was like, if we take him in McDonald's defense, Nick Amanwari could be a version of Kyle Hamilton. Not saying he's as good, certainly not now, but he's got all of the possibility of being that good. And yeah, Cam, when you highlight that a player has done something in a game that only one person has ever done in a game before, irrespective of who that player is, just happens to be a Seahawk and happened to do it last year. Amanwari, for people who, again, don't know, because he is a rookie and he missed the first 4 games with an ankle injury, this guy's been a stud every single game until now. When we were at the game, Dave, at Titans, how many times was his name called on the overhead, on the commentating? Because he was making every tackle in the first half. Thinking the game against the Titans,
It was every
Yeah.
play. It was tackle, 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 tackle for a loss, tackle. I said dinner at the start, I was like, who the hell is he?
Yeah. And so, I mean, he's a 6'3", 200-pound safety who can run a 4.3. The guy is incredibly gifted from an athletic perspective.
Even the effort put in on that special teams play to block that kick as well, because that was just timed up perfectly. Like, he stretched out, got round that corner, and got the hand right in the way.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier, weren't we, Dave? It's like so many kickers get roughed when somebody tries to block a punt because they run straight at them and essentially just try to be like a body, whereas he bent the corner and actually it looked like the proper technique for blocking a kick instead of just like get your body in the way, which I'm sure is also a great technique. But I think I'm happy about this one, Cam, and I don't want to get too excited about it because I've been trying to be reserved about the Seahawks this year, because it's felt too good to be true a little bit and how we're operating. But what I will get excited about is at least because I saw the potential coming in this year. It's seemingly coming to fruition. He's making our defense, which is already a good defense, look better. And that's all you can, that's literally all you want from a rookie. In all of our teams, what do you want from your first or second or third round picks or any pick? You want them to make a difference, contribute, and make your team better. That's the only reason for the draft. So if you see your player doing exactly that, you've hit on a draft pick, and that is what makes me happy, because you just go, well, we traded up to the top of the second to get him, and he's making a difference, and so that investment looking like it's been worthwhile. We've got a few more of those players to talk about in this one, I think, in itself, which we'll get to. But rookies make a big difference, man. Massive difference to teams, and that's why the draft's so important. Good. Nick Emawari, cheers for that, Camo. Must have hurt you. Dave, I'm coming back to your game. So for my NFC sign, I'm coming back to that Cowboys-Lions game, and I'm signing Jahmyr Gibbs. This might be low-hanging fruit, maybe, so to speak. But what I would say, I don't think we've spoken too much about him on this podcast. I think that it's taken for granted a lot of the time, like how well he does. I don't think we've had too many signs from him. He could have had probably one a week. And this might not have been his best game, but he still had 3 touchdowns. He still kept those points ticking over for the Lions. And Jahmyr Gibbs is just showing every single week that he is the man. And whilst only having 43 yards on the ground, he had 77 through the air. So he's obviously breaching over 100 and something. Montgomery still got his opportunity to play a part in this game, still had a touchdown, rush for 60 yards. They're so complementary to each other. But Jahmyr Gibbs, the sky's the limit for this dude. Like, he's actually, and I think Dan Campbell said it, I think anybody who's watched him knows that he's not an all-down back necessarily. He's not got everything that you need, but the one thing he has is juice. And just keep milking it. Keep giving him the ball. He makes special things happen. He's so fast, so athletic. And 3 touchdowns in this game. And as much as Dave signed the kicker, the Lions won this game 44 to the Cowboys 30. It was a great game. And again, as Dave said, could have been game of the week. And there was just points from everywhere, Tesla had it. There was a breakout game from somebody called Ryan Flanoy, who plays for the Cowboys. George Pickens had a bit of a stinker and has got into it on Twitter with Richard Sherman, which is hilarious. CeeDee Lamb had a big game, 120 yards. Both quarterbacks played really, really good football. Dak with 376 yards, Jared with 309 yards, Jared Goff. It was just a bit of everything. Just came down to, again, turnovers, mistakes. Dak Prescott threw 2 picks, got sacked 5 times, and Jahmyr Gibbs just kept putting that ball in the end zone. And I think this is just an accumulation for me, is that Gibbs has shown that this year there's nearly no running back like him. There's a couple, but he's in that upper echelon conversation, I think, of running backs, unless anybody disagrees.
No, he's a stud, isn't he? He's so different from like Saquon and Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry. And I think you're right. I don't think he is an every down back. I think I don't know. He doesn't look big enough to be the guy that's smashing it between the tackles. But when he runs, people try and get a hand on him. You can't bring him down. So I think he's got that sort of power back in him, but not necessarily you don't want him necessarily in at the goal line. That's when you need a bit of a chunkier guy, with a bit more body weight, that kind of thing.
I know what you mean. He reminds me a little bit of like Alvin Kamara in his early years. You know, like he's got that body balance and he's not the biggest back, but he's got more juice than Kamara had, which is maybe his X factor. Yeah, Jamar Gibbs gets the sign, so that's cool. We'll flip it to our slaps. And so NFC slap. I'm going to start with this one because I said that we'd get back to it, and it does come back to my game, the Seattle Seahawks. I'm slapping the Falcons offense. Now, the Falcons only scored 9 points in this, and I feel like we might have overkilled this game a little bit, so I'll be quick. But ultimately, Kirk Cousins is your veteran quarterback that a lot of people have been saying, play Kirk, he's better than Penix. I'm not here to trash Kirk. I think he's good, or I at least like him, and I think he was a good quarterback. I think he's now showing that he's not a good quarterback, and for whatever reason these coaches are seeing it in practice, he's clearly not the guy. Is he an upgrade in a few other places? Absolutely, you know, but I don't think he's necessarily an upgrade in that Falcons offense under that scheme. It's just not for him. And I think even from the program on Netflix, the quarterback program, you can tell that he was never enamored with this Falcons offense, and it's not how he wants to thrive. I think sending him back to Minnesota is probably the best option he could ever have, and that might maybe come to fruition in the offseason, but who knows. But aside from that, a team with Bijan Robinson, I've said this before, I'll say it again, Kyle Pitts, Darnell Mooney, they've got Drake London, who was obviously out in this game, yeah, which is a big loss for them. There's no two ways about it. But you know, you've still got these top round draft picks, and you can't score a touchdown. Seahawks have not given a touchdown up in two games now. 9 points in 2 games, and I know that they were playing a poor Vikings team, but a Vikings team that just with JJ McCarthy went in and beat the brakes off a Washington Commanders team. Like this is an outstanding performance from the Seahawks defense to contain the offense. But come on, Falcons, put a point up. You know, like that's such a downer. And we said it every week. The Falcons, they've gone from being the most inconsistent team in the league now to being consistently bad. I think they started good, then bad, then good again, then bad, then okay again, then horrific, then average, then awful, then awful, then awful. And that's been the narrative of the Falcons offense this year and as a team. I actually feel like their defense is way better than I thought it would be this year. And it's their offense that's causing the issues. But 9 points at home in front of all the crowd, you know, the Falcons they're a nothing team. And actually, when you look at it, you know, the Seahawks won 37-9. The Falcons have got 4 wins and 9 losses. I had much higher hopes than that for the Falcons this year.
Falcons are eliminated from playoffs. They can't.
Yeah.
They can't even do it.
Good. They don't deserve it.
No, it's crazy because their roster just seems far too stacked to be a 4-win team and look very beatable every week. That's the thing. I keep going, yeah, the Falcons should win that. But when you watch them, they've got nothing about them. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's very weird. And when you talk about draft picks and things and what you hit on, you know, they took 2 first-round edge rushers and they've been okay this year, but neither of them has made a case for any kind of, you know, defensive rookie of the year or made any kind of humongous big contributions. There's been individual plays, but they've not taken over a game. They've not made that difference. It's pretty bad. And I feel like, again, is this a waste of a premium talent in Bijan Robinson? Imagine him somewhere else. He would be doing disgusting things. Cool. Falcons. Slapped. Defense. Slapped. Dave, who are you slapping in the NFC?
I'm going to slap Jaden Daniels, but I'm going to extend it and just slap the Commanders as a whole, I think, because they got shut out by the team that got dumped on by the Seahawks, the Vikings. They put 31 points on the Commanders. Commanders couldn't muster a field goal, couldn't muster 3 points. Such a bad state of affairs, you know, and I almost feel like with Marcus Mariota, they were actually competitive.
They were better.
They weren't necessarily winning games, but Jaden Daniels comes back, goes 9 of 20 for 78 yards and an interception, and he got hurt trying to chase down the guy that he threw the interception to. got pushed over.
Yeah.
That was it. Pushed over, landed on his bad elbow. If it's that bad, why is he playing?
Yeah.
All that would take would have been one hit, one sack,
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, and he'd have been out, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
You know, it absolutely baffles my brain. He goes out. Marcus Mariota comes in, goes 2 of 4 for 30 yards, and throws an interception. Both of them with a passer rating of 35.
Yeah, it was a terrible interception as well. Awful.
That's all. How are you down so many points and combined your 2 quarterbacks complete 11 passes?
Yes.
Like, what on earth went on in that game?
This is as bad as it gets. It's such a weird one. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, like I say, it's more a slap of Jaden Daniels because, like, if you come back and you're good to go, and that's all it takes for you to be taken out of the game, what is happening to I saw an interview of Eli Manning the other day, and he went 15 years without missing a game. 15.
Yes, amazing.
Without missing a game. And
Russell Wilson went for 10 years without missing a game.
Yeah, and he was talking about the injuries that he had. He had a ruptured plantar fascia, or whatever it is, basically the arch of your foot. He played through that, a ruptured one. He used to get injections through his heel into the middle of his foot. And he played with broken ribs. It's incredible what they used to go through. And these soft little wormy wheeze bags now, they're out for seasons with like arm injuries and stuff. It's because they've got nothing on them. Have you seen how skinny Jaden Daniels is?
Yeah.
He is what like young people today would call a twink. He is a skinny little kid. Like, put a bit of meat, like put a bit of weight on.
That's the problem, though, isn't it?
Baffles me how like the quarterbacks just can't make it through a season. These twinky little runners like Lamar Jackson and Jaden Daniels, they don't last, do they?
NFL being so different to college, again, we've said this on previous podcasts, and it like at least in college, you're playing against maybe, people similar size, not quite fully built, not necessarily top elite players of their position, and you can use that to your advantage. And even last year, Jaden Daniels was like an unknown commodity. There's tape on him now, there's film on him, to watch out, to watch his legs, to keep him contained in the pocket. That's the first thing you do. It's what you do. Lamar's been the only magician in the last however many years, him and maybe Josh Allen just because of his brute size, but Lamar in terms of his vision and ability to not take hits for a while. Jaden Daniels is built, he's skinnier than Lamar. You can tell he's not quite he's not as muscular or as built. He just looks like a skinny dude. He looks like somebody who you would walk down the street past, and he's getting hit by blokes who are 280 to 300 pounds. And that is such a difference, Dave. And you're right. And for me, I said it in the group chat last night, is that shock horror, one season from an unknown, I guess, running, agile quarterback takes them to the playoffs because they've got some sort of momentum. Next season, his body's a bag of bones because he's either been through too much or people get clued up on him, and one hit takes him out. His arm literally bent the other way.
He's 6'4" and weighs the same amount as me. I'm 5'10" and 92 kilos. He's 6'4". He's an inch smaller than Josh Allen and 12 kilos lighter than him.
I reckon that's generous as well.
I don't believe he weighs
that.
There's nowhere on this planet. If you do you know when like you extend your arm, his elbow, like the joint of his elbow, was about 2 inches wider either side than his like bicep and forearm. That's how skinny his arms were. He's just arm and an elbow joint. There's no muscle on him at all. And I'm not saying he needs to be like Bobby Wagner at the quarterback position or Myles Garrett, but he needs to have they need to put a little bit of meat on the bone so when they are getting hit, it's not just bone that's getting absolutely mashed. You've got a bit of muscle around it to try and protect it.
Yeah. It's poor. And as you say, they got shut out. It's the first time ever a team that got shut out in the Vikings have then gone and shut out the opposing team the next week. Just 0 points all over the place for the Vikings and Commanders. I mean, the Vikings defense is good. That's one thing I will say. The Vikings defense is very, very good. They've got a really good blitz plan of shutting down quarterbacks that can be mobile and agile. They did it to Darnold last week to a certain degree, and they absolutely did it this week to Mariota and to to Jaden Daniels, but it's just so poor. It's just so like that. And what a fall from grace. I think I nearly slapped him as well, Dave, but I think that's the thing. These guys were in the NFC Championship last year. NFC Championship. They dominated, for the most part, the NFC last year through surprise, superstardom of Jaden Daniels, and they've had loads of injuries, I get it, but their defense looks slow. The Windsox defense looks old. Their offense looks broken. I mean, when we say broken, for anybody who's out there, go and watch the still image of Zach Ertz getting absolutely obliterated in this game. He looks like a rubber band. He looks like if you pulled a rubber band to like its breaking point and then it snapped, he looks like the bit that you'd be left in your hand with. Mid-air, that's what he looks like. He looks like he's got no bones in his body and it's just spaghetti. And he's fucked now. Done for the season.
Yeah,
he's broken.
That's his career done.
Yeah, I probably agree with you. He's not young. I mean, what a career he's had. He's
been fantastic.
He's a great tight end, probably a top 10 tight end of all time. He's been great. Won a Super Bowl. Yeah. Fair play to him. And I think the guy who tackled him is actually getting investigated.
Oh, is he?
By the NFL, yeah, because it was a dirty hit. He just went low on him, didn't he? He got ragdolled, didn't he? He got basically did a flip in midair.
Yeah,
and he's a big dude as well. So
yeah.
One last thing on Jaden Daniels. When I've been thinking about this, when they say, "Oh, a strength of your quarterback is his legs," that's not what I want from my quarterback. I don't want my quarterback's strengths to be his legs. I want his strengths to be his throwing. That's the thing. It's amazing what you can do. If you're that good with your legs, be a running back. Be someone else.
Yeah.
You're a quarterback.
No, I hear you.
That's meant to be the one that passing the ball down the field. I get it. The game's changing and moving on and being more athletic and college-like, etc. But you need to be able to.
Yeah.
Throw.
Yeah. I definitely don't disagree, Cam. I think equally you go, his strengths with his legs. Again, not when you're built like that. You know, if the strength of you is your legs and you're built like Josh Allen or Ben Roethlisberger or whatever, and you can take hits after hits after hits and not have to worry about it. When you're built like him, I mean, Lamar has been, to get on a tangent. No, I'll just leave it there. Actually, let's leave.
Well,
it there.
No, you're right, and I think to talk about to go into Lamar, he took him to get injured. Oh yeah. Well, it took him to get injured, didn't it? To basically change his style of play, because he was a snap the ball, look, he's not open, I'm just going to run. He got injured, and then it took him for that to learn how to actually stay in the pocket and throw the ball.
Yeah. And as much as this league is going that way, really, when you look at the teams that are excelling, it's not. It's a way to win, or it's a way to be different. But last few Super Bowls, Tom Brady, Mahomes can move. I get it. It's slightly different, but historically, he's been thrown from the pocket and he's had to throw on the move.
Yeah, or he'll take a first down when it's there, but he's not trying to weave in and out of people. He'll take on hits. He's
Matt Stafford.
Yeah,
sits in the pocket all day. You know, the people that are dominating the league right now. You know, they're mainly pocket passers. They really are. So it might be a help to you, but it's only a help until you can't actually play for your team.
Yeah, or the close the running lanes off.
Yeah,
and then what good are you when you can no longer run? You tend to be a what Shedeur Sanders was yesterday, or what Kyler Murray is, where you just stop running around in the backfield and then try and yeah.
No, for sure. No, good slap. Whose was that?
Yeah, it was mine.
Nice. Camo, who are you slapping?
I've got two in my mind, and I'm going to go with Baker. Going to go with Baker Mayfield.
Okay. Baker. I'm
going to go with Baker. We've given him a lot of credit this season, a lot of love. At times, called him the MVP elect at the start of the season, and okay, you're allowed an off game. He only put up 120 yards and 1 touchdown, 1 interception this game. It's more for what this result means.
Yeah.
This was a divisional game against the Saints. At the Saints, fair play, but they lost 20-24. The big winners from this game were the Panthers, who were on a bye week, which is mental. With Baker, we've always said it. He will do anything for a win. He's got that attitude. He will run for it. Doesn't look like the most comfortable runner.
That dog.
Yeah, he has. The best thing about the Bucks yesterday was, I don't really know. They got Bucky Irving back, which is a big win for them. But to lose to the Saints and now be level with the Panthers at the top of the division, I don't know if I've just come to expect more from Baker. He usually finds a way or usually does something crazy down the stretch. I just didn't see any spark in this entire team yesterday.
I was going to say he used up all his crazy at the start of the season. That's what he did. Like he had a run of games that was phenomenal.
Yeah,
and I think that it's just coming down to earth. And I think I even said it at the time. I think it was the Seahawks game where they obviously beat us, and it was a sling fest. And I think credit where credit's due, because it was amazing and Baker looked phenomenal. But you can't do that
down either side of that.
Yeah, you can't do that every week and it not come to bite you in some games. Like, you just can't be that reckless and lose your, like, they've had unfortunate circumstances. Losing Mike Evans is about as big a loss as any team can get for a wide receiver, really. You know, he's 1,000 yards every year, guaranteed. So to overcome those odds is big, but I don't know. I felt like this was always coming with the Bucs. So many games they were, I think the first 5 games of the season, 6, 7 games of the season, they were all one-score games where they won in the fourth. That falls off. You can't, like, very rarely can you keep winning those games. Like, it's because some of it's luck. You know, some of it is just luck. That right place, right time, good catch, bad catch, pick instead of an interception, or touchdown instead of a pick.
Exactly. Well, I was going to go the Bears at one point, but I went with Baker.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just opened the door. I mean, okay, it makes that division quite exciting for the last few games between the Bucs and the Panthers, but
yeah,
the Bucs have definitely lost a bit of spark, momentum.
Pizzazz.
Yeah. Right now, actually, wouldn't fear them playing them. That's the thing.
No, I wish we could replay them now. Yeah. I think it'd be very different. But yeah, I know you're a big fan of Baker touchdown maker, Dave. What do you reckon, just to finish the Buccaneers off? They lost 24-20 to a poor, let's be honest, a really poor Saints team. One of the worst teams in football.
Yes, it's obviously surprising. I mean, divisional games, anything can happen, can't it? But I think you're right. I think he used so much of that at the start of the season. Everything was a game-winning drive in the fourth quarter to win the game. That's what it was when it for like the first 4 or 5 weeks. And it was happening. But like you say, all that takes is a couple of missed passes, a couple of drop passes, and it's no longer an amazing drive. It's stalled out. Now you've got a punt, or you've got to go for it on 4th and 15.
Yeah.
And I think he can at times be like his own worst enemy, you know, where he's trying too hard to win. He's not Josh Allen. Yeah, I don't know. I think I would prefer to see the Panthers, I think, in the playoffs, because it's a nice story. You know, it's something different. Bryce Young's turned the corner. Can he get he get them there? You know, but it's not a great division, is it? They're all, the fact that the Falcons are out of it is crazy, really, when they're only 3 games back from being the top of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I think the Saints winning obviously is good for us in terms of picks, because we've got to play the Saints. Battle of the bad teams, I guess that'll be. But
yeah, it is. I share your sentiment with the Panthers. Actually, everything about this, and as you said, Cam, like the winners from this game were the team that didn't actually play. I quite like the idea that the Panthers are, you know, in with a shot, because we've written them off for years. We've got loads of Panthers fans on this who listen to the podcast. So for you guys, you've been waiting for this. If you make the playoffs, relish in it. It means you're building something that is essentially sustainable in a very poor division. Unfortunately, it might be the worst division in football. It's probably it probably is the worst division in football. I think you got to call it that. At least that's what I'm calling it. There's not one team in this division that I think is scary. And at least in, say, the AFC South, you got some teams like the Texans, whose defense is crazy good. The Colts were obviously good until Daniel Jones broke both his legs. The Titans are not great, but they're up and coming, and they got a win.
I mean,
and then the Jags,
call a spade a spade. The Titans are shit, but the Colts, Jags, and Texans are actually all positive.
Yeah,
all of them have got good defenses. They've got something that they can rely on, whereas I don't think you could maybe say that at full strength, the Bucs offense is actually pretty scary. Do you really trust? I love Baker Mayfield, but do you really trust him to get you over the top? I don't think he's got that in him.
No.
And they're not at full strength. Obviously, Mike Evans is out. Godwin's in and out.
Yeah. No, it'll be an interesting one. I think the Buccaneers narrative goes far beyond this season. I think is like, what does that become? Does Mike Evans walk away? Is he too battered? Is Godwin technically done with all of his injuries? And then what have they got? Ibuka, at least they've landed a bona fide star in Ibuka, I think, and just they need to find a different way of winning. They've got a lot of old boys on defense as well. They really do. They're coming towards like the peak of what they can hold on to, and they're going to have to start to rebuild a little bit. Good. That's the NFC done. Let's roll a little bit quicker into that's the AFC. No, sorry, that's the NFC. Start again. We'll roll into the AFC, and Cam, I'm going to start with you. AFC, who are you slapping? Who did no good for you?
I think everyone's going to love it. Slapping Mahomes, the Chiefs, Kelsey, whoever you really want in that entire Chiefs kingdom, because I don't care who you are. If you're a quarterback, not even one that's been slated as the best of all time or the up-and-coming best of all time, 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions at home. If this was anybody that's not Patrick Mahomes, they would be getting binned off, subbed off, told their shit. This Chiefs team has nothing. Not a single thing outside of Mahomes.
Yeah.
On any side of the ball.
Fair. I love the passion.
They have a bunch of average players. Chris Jones won't be there next season. He's going to be too expensive, old. They're not going to get he's not going to get a new contract. Kelsey's contract is up at the end of this season. Okay, it was a very bad drop. He does make that and has made that a million times over, that catch. What's next for this team? Because they need a lot. They've not got a run game. They've not got anyone that you'd be shouting and screaming about to catch the ball. They've not got that next thing. What is the future of this Chiefs team? You keep Andy Reid, but I think he's only got a couple of seasons left in him at that. But Mahomes, his play for the last few seasons hasn't been good. He gets a lot of credits for finding a way, being the man. He does go on these runs, 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Chiefs Kingdom, nah. I'm sorry. All in. I love it. They cannot win that division anymore. Mathematically impossible for them to win that division. Was it 9 straight AFC Championship games?
Yeah.
And they're probably not even going to make the playoffs this season.
Yeah.
The fall off has been dramatic, but has also been coming for years, because we've said it for years. If they get to the championship with this team, because their team is shit.
Yeah.
But we've said it for the last 2-3 seasons. If he does it this season, if they do it for this season, and fair play, they've done it for those seasons. It only took 1 or 2 little, as we mentioned, drop balls here, turnover there, whatever. They've got a losing record.
The well has run dry. That is for sure in Kansas City. That's what it feels like. It feels like that magic spell's run dry. Dave, I'm going to pass to you because I know that you also have number 15 in red in your crosshairs.
Yeah. I mean, Cam's basically said it all about the game. He was awful. If this was Daniel Jones, it'd be all over social media, wouldn't it? It'd be, he's the worst thing since whatever, But because it's Mahomes, he for some reason gets a pass.
Yeah. Actually, a lot of the blame's going on Kelsey at the minute.
Yeah, well, he should as well, because I think he's shit. But you're right. Everybody looks old on that team. Kelsey, he's got to retire at the end of the year, because he's getting paid a lot of money to not be that guy anymore. You wouldn't even call him a top 5 tight end in the league anymore. That he's so past it. Chris Jones has been absolutely invisible this year. And I was saying to Dom earlier, technically their team's better than last year. So how did this team get to the Super Bowl? And I get it. Mahomes is going to be Mahomes, so the team will always be relevant while they've got him. But I'm not against them getting rid of Andy Reid. I think Andy Reid is a guy who basically lets Mahomes do whatever he wants to do. What does he really bring to the party? He never won anything before Mahomes. Maybe it's just time to get somebody maybe a little bit newer in there with a little bit more, I don't know, maybe a defensive. You don't need a great offensive mind when you've got Mahomes because he can do everything with the ball. He's been around long enough now to know what all the defenses are. You need somebody in there who's going to be a defensive mind because that's what they're lacking. You know, he made some awful decisions in this game, but it was all out of desperation, wasn't it? Because it was all going downhill for him. So you're asking him to do too much, and he's got absolutely nobody. And I'm not sticking up for him at all, but his wide receivers are all like 2Bs. He's not got a one. He's not had a number one wide receiver since Tyreek Hill left, and his number one receiver, Travis Kelce, is now a shadow of his shadow. He's awful. Yeah, he's probably playing better than he did last year, but that's not saying much because he was bad last year.
Statistically, it's not good.
No, and there's nobody happier about this than me. I despise the Chiefs. Can't stand them. I think Mahomes he's been, like you say, anointed this greatest of all time guy because now they throw the ball 5,000 times a season, where when Brady started, didn't do that. It just feels like it's over, and Mahomes has looked really, really average. Last year he looked average as well, but they willed themselves to this potential 3P and then got the back doors blown off them. But
I think so many players and people bought into that 3P thing.
Yeah, you're right.
That carried them some of the way. Like Dom, I was just sat here thinking, for you with the Seahawks, go player for player or position for position, who would you take from that Chiefs team?
Mahomes. Probably would take Kelce just because our tight end's a total ass. But, well, no, sorry, that's me being really harsh. We don't have a receiving tight end like Travis Kelce, but I wouldn't take him now at his age. So, no, I'd probably take Mahomes and Chris Jones. And even so, Chris Jones, if you compare him to he's better than Byron Murphy or
what your line's been right now.
No, I wouldn't necessarily say again at his age and his cost. If you're looking at all that, it's nice. It's nice of you to say. It's nice of you to say, Cam. And ultimately, you're saying that the Seahawks are built better than the Chiefs, but
I'm not saying they're good, but yeah, totally.
that's still an indictment, I think, of where the Chiefs are at. And I've sat and listened to you guys. I fully agree. I think the only thing, it was 20 to the Texans, 10 to the Chiefs. I think the only thing that we're missing here a little bit is that Texans defense is incredibly good.
Absolutely.
They did exactly the same to Josh Allen, who is a Patrick Mahomes. Like Josh Allen is a Patrick Mahomes. They're MVPs. They shut these guys down. It's an incredible showing. But then when you look outside this game, so Texans obviously won this one. It wasn't, really difficult, seemingly. It's just they just bottled everyone up. But there's when you look at the season, I think it's exactly that. I think it's the wells run dry in many aspects. The wells run dry of Mahomes magic. The wells run dry in terms of aged players that are now not in positions where they can make athletic plays that they used to be able to. Andy Reid has gone stale. Steve Spagnuolo a little bit as well. Like all this magic that's been the last 5, 6, 7 years of Super Bowls and AFC championships. And I think last year was ultimately, I know you guys would hate it, but what should have happened last year is the Chiefs should have won the 3-peat and that be that. And then just stopped. Because that's what's ultimately happened. I'm not saying they should have won that game. They definitely should have. But what I mean is in terms of the crescendo of that dynasty that once was, what should have been is the 3P and then you all just fuck off. And that's probably what would have happened. I think, if the Chiefs win the 3P, I think Kelce hangs it up. I think maybe even Andy Reid hangs it up at that point. Because what more can you achieve? They're now just operating on a hangover. That's what it feels like. And we said this last week as well. They've also played, and no excuse, but they've also played, 30 more games than most teams over the last 5 years. And everyone needs a bit of a rest. And it's not okay, but you do.
Yeah, and I don't know how much of that is the fatigue, like you say, of them going for a three-peat, everybody's like, let's absolutely sell out and try and do this. And then when it didn't happen, people are like, do you know what? I've got 3 rings. I've got 2 rings. I can't even be arsed anymore. I'm just going to go for the money. Because the biggest factor in all this is Mahomes will need paying. And he's gonna get paid 65 million, 70 million, which is gonna suck up even more of that money. And who are you gonna get? Because I think people look at teams, and the Chiefs will always have players that want to play with them because of Mahomes. But these receivers and stuff like this, George Pickens, he ain't taking a hometown discount to go and play with Mahomes.
No,
he's gonna want the most money he can physically get. And in a weird way, I'd rather play for the Cowboys with CD Lamb and Dak Prescott than I would play for the Chiefs. You're in a tax haven in Texas. You're getting a load of the ball because you've got a true number 1 receiver the other side as well. I just don't think the Chiefs are ever going to be relevant for a while. Yeah. I might eat humble pie next year if they manage, because ultimately what's working in their favour is they're going to be in a position to draft a really, really good receiver if they want one.
Yeah.
But like you say, how many? If they lose Kelsey, that's such a big part of their game. Like losing Tyreek Hill was such a big part of their game. It all became about Kelsey. And if they lose Kelsey, I just think that it allows you to focus more on these receivers.
Yeah,
I'm here for it. I hope they are not relevant ever again. They've had their time. He won 3 Super Bowls. You know what I mean? How much more do you want? He ain't winning 7.
No.
It just shows you how good Brady is.
Yeah, it really does.
Brady did have a 10-year gap.
Yeah. But I don't think Mahomes is going to play that long, is he? He's not going to play. I don't know. But
with his style of play, it's unlikely. But yeah, I think as being a pro Chiefer and have enjoyed watching the Chiefs, I'm very, very happy to watch them not make the playoffs this year. It was probably good for them. In the long term, it's probably good for them. I think they are it's not going to be a one year miracle either. I think, Dave, what you said. I don't think it's a case of just drafting one good receiver and then all of a sudden they're relevant again. I now foresee this Chiefs team being in what will be maybe like a 2 to 3 year rebuild. They'll probably be relevant-ish, but you say that they haven't been relevant this year. They've looked really, really bad, and on paper they've got a better team than they had last year. So yeah, good slap, Cam. Talking about the Chiefs, I like it. So that's Dave's slap of Mahomes and Cam's slap of Chiefs, all associated as such. We spoke about this a little bit earlier, but I'm going now deep into it. I am slapping Lamar Jackson. So the Steelers beat the Ravens this week to go 7-6 in the division. It was the opportunity for the Ravens to go 7-7 and start to pull back in a very tough AFC North. I don't know if tough's the word, but competitive is probably the right word to use. A very competitive AFC North. And the Steelers came out on top, 27-22. And it was largely because, and this is probably a combined slap, Lamar. I was watching it when he got sacked in this game. He threw an interception, but it was when he took a sack. And he ran a touchdown in this one, and fair play. He's still got legs, actual physical legs. But I don't know. It's a hell of a hot take. I'm going to say it. Something looks wrong with Lamar. And I don't know whether it's going to be just something that's wrong for this season, or he relies so heavily on his physical traits, right? So heavily. Yes, he can throw the ball and he's got a great arm. But so much of that great arm is him navigating and creating space for him to unleash the arm, rolling out the pocket, evading tackles. He might just be injured, or he might just be rusty, or whatever you want to call it. But for me, I think it looks like he's in a bit of trouble. It looks like he's in genuinely a bit of trouble. And so, what's this? The 8th of December, 2025, maybe hear it here first. I'm predicting a slight demise of Lamar Jackson. I don't think he looks like himself. And mix that with an aged Derrick Henry, no wide receivers to speak of apart from Zay Flowers, who, with all best respect, is as big as Cam, a bit quicker. Their defense is also aged and not really full of world beaters that you'd expect to dominate on defense. They've got pieces, obviously great, Patrick Queen and Hamilton and whatever, but for the most part, I don't know, the Ravens are in trouble, but I'm slapping Lamar because he just looks nothing like his last year MVP debated self. He just looks average and making mistakes and taking sacks and taking hits and looking a bit pouty and mardy and downtrodden. And yeah, I don't know. The Ravens just aren't doing it for me. And I think in our division dives at the start of the season, we all said, like, watch out for the Ravens. This could be big. You know, they're building something. I don't know. Am I crazy?
No, you're not crazy. And to take it quickly a little bit wider than Lamar and the Ravens, I think there's so many of the top powerhouse AFC teams in particular that coming into this season were like, wow, what do you do against these AFC teams? Actually, 3 of the 4 of them won't make the playoffs. Like, it is insane what's going on. And we've said it all season about just the top players maybe not performing. Lamar, he was obviously injured, wasn't he? He's come back and hasn't looked like Lamar. It's, like I say, it is certainly not helped with no run game. Derrick Henry now can't run through a bit of paper, let alone what he has done for years.
Maybe we change that. Derrick Henry now can't run through 4 people. He can only run through 1.
But that was such a complimentary bit of what they done last year.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's
like,
a game changed, isn't it, immediately?
The complimentary football they had last year was disgusting. I said start of the season that they were going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And yeah, none of these teams at the minute, I think, 2-minute drive, down a touchdown, you receive the ball back, would I be confident that they'd go down and score? And that's what happened in this game. But they had a couple of chances to go down and score.
They did. The Steelers kept giving the opportunity, and it just wasn't there. Yeah, no. So that's my slap. And yeah, speaking of the Steelers and stuff, DK had a good game. He was taken to hospital after the game though because he had some issues in his stomach after being hit. But Rodgers don't look great. You know, like all these teams. No, none of them. The only team I don't know. I may be going off on a tangent here, but like in the AFC. So let's just talk about that. You can give your opinion if you want to, Dave, on Lamar Jackson. But what teams in the AFC, not saying the Titans because it's a unique position, but what teams in the AFC would you be fearful of playing? Like if you made the playoffs, you're in a wild card spot, what team are you going, holy hell, I'm not sure I want to play this team?
For me right now, the Texans, because of their defense.
And I was going to say something really similar, Cam, and say the only team that I go, holy fuck, in the AFC is because of how good the Texans defense is. But in my opinion, the Seahawks have already beat the Texans, so I kind of go, well, found a way and actually put a fair amount of points upon them. But so yeah, 2 things, Dave. Lamar and what team in the AFC are you actually going, wowzers?
I think Lamar's definitely injured. I think they've brought him back the same as sort of the Bengals, you know, just to try and do that push to get into the playoffs because he's not running anywhere. I know he had a couple of rushing touchdowns didn't he, in this game, but
yeah,
he's not. Whether he's either being held back and he's not doing it because he's been told not to do it, or he's just still got, you know, a bit of a leg ankle injury that means he can't move around the way that he maybe normally can. And in terms of team, outside of the Bills. Outside of them,
you could even say the Bills if you want, because that's ultimately kind of the top of the tree. I would always be afraid to go against Josh Allen, obviously because he's Josh Allen, but they've shown that they're incredibly beatable.
Yeah, I don't know, probably the Broncos for a similar reason to the Texans, but I do think they've got a little bit more juice on offense. And the Patriots look unbelievable.
They do
in all 3 phases. Like I don't think they've not got the.
For me, I think their schedule's been so weak.
Yeah, no, I mean you can only beat who's in front of you, can't you? And
absolutely, and they've done that.
Yeah, but they've dismantled teams, and that's the thing. And I don't necessarily think they're amazing on offense, amazing on defense, amazing on special teams. The issue is there's no weakness across them. They all play to like an average standard or above average standard, which means that they can kind of pick teams apart. Whereas you look at the Texans, their offense is actually pretty gash. They put 20 points on the Chiefs team that gave them 3 turnovers. You know, it's the same as the Jags. Their offense isn't exactly great. They've got a stronger defense. the Bills, their offense is a lot better than their defense. Whereas I think the Patriots are the only team really that are fully balanced across the board.
Yeah. Well, that's it. It's fully open, and that's why I just wanted to get guys' opinions. Is like everybody's got their opinion of like who frightens who. I think the Bills would be, for me, the team that I would probably most or least want to actually play. But then if you look at the AFC versus the NFC, and you've got teams like the Eagles, the Rams, obviously, you could maybe throw the Seahawks in there at the moment. That you could maybe throw the Niners in there at the moment.
I would still throw.
The Packers,
the Lions in there. They're not in. Not in the playoffs yet.
Yeah, Lions and Packers.
I would still rather not play the Lions.
Lions and Packers. You throw all those teams in against almost any of those AFC teams. I think the Broncos is a good shout, Dave, because they've just shown that they can win it. They can just win. But again, you put the Broncos against like a Rams. I don't know. Maybe defense comes out on top. I don't know. It's a really tough one, but
we've got an interesting one. We're at the Broncos next week.
The Packers. That'll be at least telling. Like, that'll be telling of NFC versus AFC teams, because that's the Broncos have had a lot of gimmies amongst some well deserved wins, but they've had a lot of gimmies. Some shit teams only defeating them as well.
It's their offense that I question.
Yeah, interesting topic anyway, because it feels like this year's an NFC Championship Super Bowl, if that makes sense. Feels like the best team in the NFC is probably going to win the Super Bowl for me. Cool. What's left?
Signing in the AFC.
Signing in the AFC. Good. Dave, signers.
So I am going to sign DK from the Titans, which is a bit of a homer thing. But
you can take the opportunity. Why not?
Yeah, it's not necessarily about the game, because although he did have a touchdown this week, he's been outstanding all season in the return game, and I just think that when you're on the same as Myles Garrett, albeit a completely different record, when you're on pace to beat a record that's stood for a few years, I think that you do need to give him a little bit of flowers. And I think he's unanimously been the best returner in the league this season, and he's on pace to break the all-purpose record, which is held by Darren Sproles. Like, he needs to average about 130 all-purpose yards for the rest of the season to beat the record. And he's averaging like 160 per game. So he's handily on pace to break it. He just seems to be a rookie. I think we picked him in either the third or fourth round. He's just been that rookie that this year for us, he's the only one that's got a chat. I mean, he's probably, we were speaking about it earlier, he'll probably be an all-pro at returning and a Pro Bowler, which as a rookie is pretty impressive. You know, every team's got a return guy. You know, and he does have the advantage of being a wide receiver as well, because we don't have any other wide receivers. All our leading receivers are rookies. But yeah,
and maybe an advantage of receiving one or two extra punts a game generally, but not enough to swing the tide.
Well, I think we probably do more punting than he receives punts. He probably receives a lot more kicks than punts. But yeah, because teams score on us constantly. But yeah, I mean, he's leading the league in all-purpose yards and scrimmage yards. You know, and that includes obviously like people like McCaffrey and stuff like that, who are like every down backs. But most people probably don't even know who he is unless you're a Titans fan. But he's a 2 punt returns for touchdowns. It just looks like we've found, you know, when you find that guy who's going to be your returner. They're like kickers. You know, a kicker, if you've got a kicker and they're a good kicker, he just gives you that little bit of. Like every time he receives a punt, like I remember, obviously he scored a touchdown against you, and he returned
the Seahawks. Yeah, nice. Thanks for that.
Yeah, but as soon as he kicked that, I was like, he's kicked that too far. As in your punter, he's kicked the ball too far, because you're giving him a 20-yard run at your defenders, and then obviously he ran past everyone and took it in. But
I think you've got more than that in him. Personally, he seems very much to me how Tyler Lockett seemed when he first came into the league, because he came into the league as a kick returner for the Seahawks, but they used him on offense very slightly, and he had like 3 touchdowns in the season or whatever, because he showed that he can run routes, get open. I think it will be very similar. I don't have the stats at all, but I think in his first year he had 2 kick returns or punt returns or whatever it was for touchdowns. He had one in the preseason as well, and then I think he had 3 touchdowns or something in his first season. Only probably had like 400 yards or something less, but he very quickly showed that he was a all-round football player, you know, somebody you could play in the return game and then eventually becomes way more valuable in the receiver game because he's got all those skills that you need. And I feel like DK is that, like, because he's had some actually really good touchdowns, like just passing. And as much as it's, I don't know what you want to call it.
Yeah.
So they're not gifts. He's playing for a fucking team that has got nobody else. Like he's getting one-on-ones with good corners, and he's still catching touchdowns. I think when I said earlier about rookies doing the job that you want to do, my sort of nod was to him. Like one of my nods was to him. He's been a fourth or third or whatever he was that has blown up, and you will want to keep on your roster, and he's contributing and helping you win games. He's helping you win.
Well, he's a deep threat, and he would have had another walk. He'd probably had another 60-yard walking touchdown if Cam Ward could hit the side of a barn door sometimes when he's throwing the ball. He'd blown past the defender. The pass was 2 yards too deep. But that would have been a walk in. He's a big dude, he's 6'1" and he's got pace. And he can return, which again, like I say, just gives you that more. If you can get them 40-yard returns on kickoffs and punts, it just takes the pressure off your offense a little bit, It puts them in good position. If it does stall out, it means you're going to kick the ball them deep, so you get good field position. Yeah, so essentially that's why I'm signing him, because I'm the Titans one.
I like it, and I'm staying there. I'm staying there, Dave. This is a Titans parade. I'm giving it because you got to give credit when credit's due. So the Titans beat the Browns this week, 31-29. Now that is, in my head, I think it was unexpected. I think I expected the Titans to lose, which is why I played the Browns defense in fantasy. There you go. Foolishness deserves its comeuppance, but I thought the Browns defense, more importantly, we were just going to take care of the offense on the Titans. That's where my opinion was coming from. I wasn't expecting Shadur Sanders to throw for 360 yards, 3 touchdowns. I don't think anybody on this planet was expecting that. But I'm signing Tony Pollard from the Titans as well. I mean, you guys got a win. This is your second win of the season. This is something to celebrate for the Titans. It doesn't really jeopardize any draft stock, really. You're still on par for the first or top 2 picks in the draft. You don't need a quarterback, which means you don't need those top picks, which means the only value is a trade back, which is a potential positive or negative depending on where you trade back to. So I think winning was important for morale, for players, for Cam Ward, for the defense, for whatever reason, for Dave's sanity is probably the most important thing. But Tony Pollard had 161 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he had one of the, I won't say the best runs I've ever seen. It's not the best run I've ever seen, but it was one of the fastest, slowest runs I've ever seen, which was, it's a stat. He looked like at every moment he was going to get caught and still managed to pull away from the defenders that were chasing him. So I think he showed that he obviously has the vision. He has got some form of top end juice. And I was here for it. I thought it was great. He had, one massive touchdown, one amazing, just open hole. And you're playing the Browns defense, one of the best defenses in the league. That has been the narrative for a couple of weeks this season, and for the Titans, playing against the Seahawks, keeping it close, playing against the Texans, keeping it close, beating the Browns. Whilst the Browns are stinky, and they are, their defense ain't. And this was a good game. And I think Tony Pollard, I think what this shows you is, I don't think Pollard, he could be the answer. He doesn't need to be the answer. I think that just establishing a strong ground game is so important for the Titans, and giving Cam Ward a safety net. And, if you've got some success on the ground, which you've rarely had this season, it just opens everything up. And that's football. That's football. That's how it works. And so you're able to win a game where, shock horror, you're able to put nearly 200 yards on the ground. It's kind of what you expect.
Yeah, it was. I thought we were going to win the game. I said to Izzy before, I just feel like, I think there are a few teams that the Titans that I think are better than. I think they're better than the Browns. I think they're better than the Jets. I think they're better than the Saints. And I think they're on par. I know we got beat by the Raiders, but I think if you played that game again, it probably would turn out a little bit differently. There's a certain group of teams at the bottom, a grouping of shit, essentially, and we are well and truly mixed in with that. And it for me, it was a big game, and I put it in the post now that in our group chat that I wanted to win so bad because of Shador Sanders being on the other team and all the talk before the draft being about who we should pick. And although if you looked at the stats, you would be like, well, Shador Sanders is the better player. You've got to watch the game to actually understand that one of them was a complete blown coverage. The other two massive plays that he had are just screen passes. It was like I was watching the Jags play. He looks downfield, then he throws it left or right. He reminds me so much of, I know I said last week that I'm going to reserve the judgment on him, but I'm not. I'm going to give full judgment on him now because I've seen him for a full game, like every snap of the game. He looks like Kyler Murray mixed with Deshaun Watson from maybe like 4 years ago, and not Deshaun Watson's ability to throw the ball down the field. His escapability and the fact that he's a slimy little rat that you can't sack. I'm not even kidding you. We should have sacked him about 8 times, but he just gets out of it, and he's got that kind of weird mobility where he can just get downfield and get 10 yards. But I wasn't impressed with him at all. That does look like that the throw to Harold Fanning, who is unbelievable. That was a great throw, great throw and a great catch. It was the commentator said it like there's no defense for the perfect pass, and that was the perfect pass.
Yeah,
because the defender was in his pocket.
Yeah,
but the guy held on. But other than that, he looks very average. His interception was god awful, and he had 3.5 business days to throw the ball. Like we just weren't getting to him. And again, I don't know if it's because I think Myles Garrett would have been it, like circling this game as in this is the game where I'm going to get 5 sacks and I'm going to break that record. And I think that the offensive line was probably like, not today, big lad, because he was ineffective. He had 1 sack, but other than that, you didn't even see him. The camera was on him constantly, and he didn't do anything. I think before the sack, he had something like he had 30 snaps, no pressures, no anything, like nothing across the board, no tackles, no nothing. So I'm glad that Jeffrey Simmons out-sacked him. And the defense played well. He got a block kick, obviously an interception, a forced fumble. It was the first time that I've kind of seen the Titans play sort of complementary football across the board. That was essentially without any kick returns, because they kept just punting it and kicking it into the end zone, so DK couldn't run the ball back, which was annoying because I need him for fantasy. But
the win is the win.
Yeah, we win, and I'm happy we won. Like, I want to win this game and I want to beat the Saints. We've got the Chiefs and the Niners coming up. I'm not massively hopeful about them 2 games. And then the Jags to finish off. But we've got a winnable game against the Saints. And I think that'll kind of decide, if not the number 1 pick, maybe the 2nd or 3rd pick. Because there are a lot of teams now that are 2-11. Yeah,
nice. No, it's good. This, building blocks, one at a time. That's all you got to take it. And Pollard is one of those that's done... he's done good things throughout his career, but this was one of his career day in yards, I think it was. So
career high, yeah.
Fair play to him. Good stuff. Tony Pollard, Titans, you've made Dave very, very happy. That's that. Camo, what we saying? I need your sign, please, in the AFC.
This is weird. I'm going for someone that didn't have his best day, didn't actually contribute too much in this game, but it's throughout the last 5-6 weeks, they have shown they are the biggest bright spark on this team, on a team that is somehow still kicking in and around. Devon Chainaton from the Miami Dolphins. The dude is just different. He is one of those exciting players. You mentioned it with Gibbs earlier. I'm not saying he is Gibbs. He's certainly a tiny bit below him, but
he's like a B. He's like a B- Gibbs. Gibbs.
He's got something about him. He is an exciting player, and for a team that we have written off and downtrodden and kicked when they're down and spat on them a few times.
Ouch.
The Miami Dolphins are finding a way to. Hey, they're not going to make it, but they're beating some teams. Some bad teams,
they're 6 and 7. They're as close as many other teams, aren't they? Yeah,
they got the same record as the Chiefs right now. And actually, now, it's. But he's got that juice. He can have a dynamic, exciting 70-yard run. They need to feed him as much as they can, and I just enjoy watching him play. He feels like when he touches the ball, something special could happen. And the Miami
I agree.
Dolphins, they certainly need that.
He's very much Jamal Gibbsy, isn't he? I think he just lacks the. I think he's much more
3 touchdowns a game. Yeah.
No, I think he's just much more of a straight line speedrunner than Gibbs. Gibbs will take you all over the field, if that makes sense. Whereas I feel like a Chain picks his gap and tries to absolutely blast through in a straight line. Whereas Jahmyr Gibbs can Sonic the Hedgehog you and run around in circles and dip and dive and spin and juke, and there's nothing wrong with it. Two different styles of play. I'd love to have a Chain. Like he's so incredibly fast.
Yeah, and I think he has taken a step on as well these last sort of 5-6 weeks. So yeah, exciting player. Look forward to see what he can do next season. I think it'll be a big season for him. I know this one was again marked to be a breakout year for him following his rookie season. He's developed more, and he will be a more of a focal point of that team moving forward.
Yeah, no, he's done it. He's done absolutely everything you would need from an individual player in the Dolphins squad. It's just a shame that he's been part of what was, at times this year, one of the worst things to watch in football. But Dolphins are 6-7. They beat the Jets this week 34-10. It wasn't even close. They put 21 points up in the first quarter and then only have to follow it up with a 13. And that just says everything about the Jets and how bad they are. The Jets are awful. They're up and down. They win games that they shouldn't win, that do them a disservice in their draft position. Then they get bombed by the Dolphins because they've got no way. There's just no way out. They've got nothing. The Jets are some franchises out there at the moment that have just got no hope. And obviously they're praying for a draft. They're praying for a pick. They're praying for something. And the Jets are absolutely one of them. The Saints are also one of them. The Raiders are also, like the Raiders, I think they've got maybe a little bit more to be happy about just because you've got 2 absolute world beaters in Crosby and Bowers. But aside from that, like, all these teams are just suck. They just suck. But the Jets really suck. And I think it's because they've just sucked perennially. Sorry. Have just sucked.
Oh, there's generations of
crap.
Yeah.
They try to win it with a young quarterback, can't do it. Go and get the 4-time MVP of the league, can't do it. Go and get another quarterback that's maybe dynamic, can't do it. All the just terrible. And then to the point where they go, do you know what? Fire sale, middle of the season, take all of our players, thank you very much. Get rid of the best player I think that they've had in many years in Quentin Wilson. And then also get package Sauce Gardner up, who I wasn't too bothered about because I think he's overrated, but just wild. Just wildly bad. The Jets are wildly bad. Poor franchise. They should move the Jets. They don't need Jets and Giants, and I know that they're so established that they will never do it, but just move the Jets. Move them somewhere. I don't know. To move them to bloody...
Alaska. That'd be great.
Or, what's it? Montana. Move them to Montana and I'll start supporting them.
Yeah, they get.
I don't think Montana would like that.
They get about 6 people per game going to watch him. That's all they deserve, to be fair. But they could definitely go. They could definitely go somewhere south, like Alabama would be a
Alabama
to have a football team, like an NFL team. There's probably a load of states. You could probably bang them in Texas, and they'd still get like San Antonio or somewhere like that.
Mississippi.
Fucking go Canada.
Yeah, you could do.
Country.
Bang them in England.
They're not that far away from Canada, to be honest.
No.
England. The England Jets. We'll have to change the name. The England Aircraft. Okay, good. Nice. That's everyone, right? Or are we still waiting on Dave? We're slapped and signed. We're done. Slap and sign is over. Cheers for that, boys. That was a good one. Good talking points. Many a team and player slapped. Many a team and player signed. We'll now move quickly into our game recaps. Talk about the games that we didn't cover. Camo, I'm coming straight to you because we didn't cover the Go Pack Go. Go Pack Go. It was a big one for you boys. Bears, Packers at Lambeau. Bears were top of the division. Bears were top of the NFC, and they came into the Packers' house, got beat down. Packers 9-3-1. Bears 9-4. Still tough at the top, but you beat them 28-21. Jordan Love looked good. Defense looked better, and that's been the narrative, I think, for your season, is the Packers defense is just, and I will say it, surprisingly good. And I'm not surprised about the front seven, but I'm just surprised your corners can hold up, because I think they're ass, but they're clearly not. So
they get a lot of assistance from the front seven. That's the thing. I mean, this game is huge coming into it. Bears week for us is always massive. We've not really had a, dare I say it, a meaningful game for both teams this late in the season for God knows how long. We play them twice in 3 weeks. So we've just come off the back of playing the Vikings, playing the Lions, and then we had the Bears. It was back-to-back divisional games. With this one being at Lambeau, wanted to get that win so badly. Obviously, it would put us top of the NFC North. And yeah, what I was really glad to see was I still think Love is best when he is throwing that ball downfield. Our run game this season, we're trying to establish it, and it's just not been where it was last season. But Love was able to sort of air the ball out a little bit. We got Jaden Reed back in this game. He's been out since week 2, which is a big one for us. But what I will say, Christian Watson, he seems to have come back from his injury. He just seems to have grown up a little bit, matured a bit. He's found that he can actually catch a football, which is nice. He's come back a much better player than when he left us, because he got injured against the Bears last season and hadn't really played since. He's come back sort of 3 games so far this season. So he's come back really strong. To get Jaden Reed back was a nice one for us.
Those two things are really big for you guys. And Christian Watson's been let's be honest, a game changer, because he's got that deep threat ability if he can catch, and obviously he's learned to catch. So it's been wild to see just these moon balls actually be caught by him. And he has been, in my opinion, the change of your offense over the last 6 weeks.
So we went into the half up. The second half, the Bears controlled the clock. They managed to run on us. The amount of times Caleb Williams rolled out, extended the play, and either ran it himself or managed to find somebody for the first down. There was numerous drives in this game where it was 17, 18 plays, which was obviously they absolutely ran that clock. And it came down to the final drive. We were up 28-21, come down to 3-1, a 3rd and 1 on the 10-yard line, 15-yard line sort of thing. We stopped them on a 3rd and 1. 4th and 1, Caleb Williams again rolls out, tries to throw the ball, but he just sort of underthrows it. And Kayshawn Nixon, who had 2 really shit penalties in the first half, gave away 30 yards on 1 drive, came up with the game-ending interception. Yeah, massive win for us. Really, really glad to get it. And like I say, we play them again in Soldier Field in 2 weeks' time. But yeah, all in, Love looked good. Our defense looked really good, but really tired in the second half and couldn't stop the run. But done what we needed to do, and to beat the Bears for us is huge.
Yeah, it never really looked in doubt to me, to be honest, from the off. As soon as you got the first score, and I think that's so imperative for the Packers to get the first score. I think it makes such a big change to how you operate and how you're coached and whatever, and getting that first one on the board is massive. But yeah, I mean, look, Bears have been, I guess, good this season. They've definitely had
they are one of those teams where you're talking about they've won I think they've won like the last 6 games all in the fourth quarter on comebacks. And it's one of those that could easily have gone the other way so many times, but they found a way every time. Nice to stop them in their tracks a little bit.
For sure. I mean, for sure. It's a big win for you guys. It's a big win for the Packers. And you're obviously playoff bound. That's going to be a really interesting one. You'll probably end up playing like the Seahawks or something, which will be really fun for us. And,
right now we're slated to play the Bears.
Right. Okay. That'll be interesting, but obviously things are going to change. But yeah, I mean, the weird thing is that you've beaten some great teams this season, like the Lions. You've swept the Lions. You've beaten the Bears, who are good. But then
also lost to the Browns and the Panthers.
You've lost to the Panthers. You lost to the Browns. But you've also played some whoppers. You played the Bengals with 1 week of Joe Flacco. You played the Cardinals, who suck. You played the Commanders, who really suck. You've played the Giants, who suck. The Vikings, who suck. Like, some of those wins, I really want, like, this is no slight, I just really want to see the Packers play good teams, which is why I think the Broncos will be a really interesting one. I know you played the Lions and you beat them. They're great teams. I'm not saying you haven't. I'm just saying a team that is slightly different, that is holding its own somewhere else. What do the Packers look like against like a Broncos, or if they were to play when we get towards the playoffs? You know, if you're going to play the Niners or maybe the Seahawks. I don't know. I'm not saying we'd batter you. I'm definitely not saying that. But I still don't know what the Packers are. I think that's how I feel. I know they're a great defense, and now getting a healthier offense, I think you're in the best position you can be. Feel like you're stronger now than you were 4 weeks ago. And that is kind of dangerous because you were still winning games 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, no, we're not in a bad spot. That's the thing. I think for us, really imperative that we can hold on and win the division to play a game at Lambeau, because it's not nice for people to go there. To have that home field advantage would be huge.
Cool.
But yeah,
Packers win.
Yeah,
take it. Love it. Next game we not spoke about: LA Rams divisional game against the Arizona Cardinals. Rams win 45-17. This was not even close. It started close and then just became a rout or a route or whatever you want to call it. But Matt Stafford, 281 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, very clean, did not take a single sack. Puka Nacua, 167, 2 touchdowns. Dave, we've said it enough times, but when you put a hurting on a bad team like the Cardinals, who have been close with a lot of teams, the Rams, they've lost, a couple of games here and there because you can't win them all. But I still think they're the best team in the NFC.
Yeah, they certainly look it. They've got all sort of 3 phases dialed in at the end, but on offense, they're just absolutely unbelievable. Apart from Devonta Adams not scoring a touchdown this week, which feels like it's the first week in about 14 weeks he's not scored a touchdown. Nacua is, we were talking about the best receivers in the league earlier, and Nacua has to be up there. And I said I'd have him over Chase and Jefferson because I just think he offers more. He's a big old youth and he can catch absolutely everything. All he makes is contested catches. They'll give him a jet sweep out the back and he'll at the backfield and he'll take it for a touchdown. He's so good. But Stafford's unbelievable, and I think who's even close to him? Who's even close to try and take the MVP off him?
Nobody now.
I don't think so.
Nobody now. There's nobody that is worthy as he is. I think as soon as you go to the next level of players, that automatically tells me offensive player of the year, defensive player of the year. It doesn't tell you MVP. I think Stafford is the MVP. Let's talk players that would come near him then. Jonathan Taylor, you could say offensive player of the year, not MVP.
For me, Jonathan Taylor would have to break some form of record. Jackson Smith and Jigba would have to break the receiving records to get MVP.
Yeah, to get an MVP, yeah.
That's saying I think you need to, arguably, when Garrett breaks it, that boosts his thing, but actually, yeah.
You said the same, didn't you, Dave? You said is Garrett an MVP candidate because the Defensive Player of the Year trophy is there to be won. I think that's the auto gift for somebody like Garrett. Even if you break the record, it's just like, there you go. I mean, how many times did JJ Watt win MVP? No, just defensive player.
He got robbed of it once, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Yeah, I think it was the same year, wasn't it? It was the same year as Adrian Peterson won it. I think that was his stud year.
2004 or something like that. It was, yeah.
Right.
I think Garrett would have to get like 27 sacks
to win the MVP.
I think he'd have to like obliterate that record to get MVP. The problem is you're looking at a guy who's probably going to have 45 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. I mean, what's he on now? What's Stafford on? He's got 4 interceptions, hasn't he?
I think he's got 40 touchdowns.
35 and 4 at the minute. And we've got 4 games left. So
do you know what it goes? Sorry, go on.
No, I'm just saying he's. I don't even know what. I mean, he's had 40 touchdowns once before in his career with the Rams.
It's crazy that he's playing his best football.
Yeah, he's
a
stud, isn't he?
But do you know what's mad? Like, obviously, I would give it to, at the moment, my awards would be Garrett Defensive Player of the Year. I would make JSN Offensive Player of the Year, no bias, and I would make Stafford the MVP. I think those are my 3 awards. As to like, if the league stopped right now, that's where I would put it. But do you know what's mad? The Mahomes and the Peyton Manning 50, 55 touchdowns in a season. Like, how many touchdowns does it feel like Matt Stafford's thrown? And I know there's 4 games left, but he's thrown 35.
Yeah, and that was in a 16 game as well, so he's got an extra game. It
throw
does just show you've done it.
55 touchdowns in a season. What the hell?
So what's going to have to take some going? I mean, what's that even average out at?
I don't know.
Like four? Is it like four a game or something like that?
If you to do it in a 17, so 55 divided by a 17 game season, you have to. Yeah, it doesn't sound that bad, but you have to throw 3.2 touchdowns a game in a 17 game season to get 55. That's 3 touchdowns every week.
In a 16 game season, then
it'd be like 3.8 or 3.9.
Yeah, so basically 4 a game. That's insanity.
Yeah, every week, come rain, come shine. So yeah, good stuff. Rams win, obviously, go to 10-3, sharing that same record with the She-Hawks and a few others with 10 wins in the divisions now. It's tight at the top. The Niners are going to make a run for it as well. It's going to be tight. Lots going on. Colts, Jags. Let's talk about Danny Dimes real quick. Was playing with a fractured leg. Now has torn his Achilles on the opposite leg. Oh dear. The Colts' dreams live and die with Daniel Jones, and I think they've died.
Yeah, they've got. I mean,
dead. Is it?
Yeah, unless they go and trade for or bring somebody in, they are absolutely Romeo done. And their last games as well are they've got to play the Texans.
They've got the Seahawks next week.
And and the Jags as well.
Yeah, it's not an easy run, is it?
How insane!
Well,
I think 4 weeks ago they were the top of the AFC, and now they're probably not going to make the playoffs. They're probably going to lose the next 4 games.
I can't see them winning any of those games if they've got the backup quarterback that played this week. It's going to be really tough for them. Yeah, he didn't look horrendous actually, but
it's going to be such a shame as well because they were such a good story.
Amazing story. Yeah. It was a great narrative to see the Colts come back and equally just to see Danny Dimes coming back. So
yeah, I mean, these are their last games. They play you next week, then they play the Niners, then they play the Jags, then they play the Texans. They're probably going to finish 8-9, which is outrageous when they were like 7-2.
Yeah, I mean the Jags beat them this week, put 36 points on them. So it's about as good as I've seen the Jags this week. Actually, Trevor Lawrence 240 yards, 2 touchdowns. Travis Etienne 2 touchdowns. They played a good game of football, but I guess if you're playing against a broken-legged Daniel Jones and then a backup rookie who's been thrown into the limelight, that's what's going to happen because their defense is great. Kept getting the ball back. Obviously good. Well done to the Jags. Are 9-4.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Zach is an avid listener of ours, and he's going to be buzzing off that. But I don't know how I feel about the Jags either.
Oh no, I mean, I think Zach will be the first person to tell you how pissed off he is with Trevor Lawrence constantly and his sideways passes. But I guess winning's winning, innit? No matter it's all right for me to sit here as a hater in that division, being like, yeah, the Jags suck. Well, the Jags absolutely put a beating on us, and they're going to go to the playoffs. They've got to play us again, which means another win for them. I don't know who they're.
They've got the Colts again, obviously. So that's another win.
Here you go. No team has probably got an easier route to the playoffs now than the Jags. They play the Jets next week. They do play the Broncos. Then they've got the Colts and then the Titans.
Right, so they're going to finish with 12 wins.
Probably.
12-win Jags back to the playoffs.
Yeah,
no
this is a team that 3 years ago had back-to-back first number 1 picks. So the turnaround has been decent for them.
So I think Jacoby Myers has done well since going into them.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, he has. Yeah, good. Last game to talk about. Broncos Raiders. We spoke a bit about the Broncos just being a good team. We haven't spoke about the Raiders being a bad team, but they are just a horrendously bad team. Geno Smith threw for 116 yards in this game before being taken out because he hurt his hand. He sucks. And Kenny Pickett came in and actually threw a touchdown. They both threw touchdowns, no picks. They were quite safe with the ball. Got sacked a few times, which is to be expected by the Broncos, but the Broncos won 24-17. Bo Nix actually didn't throw a touchdown. He ran one in, or sort of scrambled one in and rolled into the end zone, but fair play. RJ Harvey's looking quite good for them. Now he's getting the time and getting the chance to play. Now that J.K. Dobbins is out, he looks quite good.
Now that I've dropped him in fantasy. So.
I picked him up. Yes, I think Broncos are 11-2. They're and on the flip side, the Raiders are 2-11. Like chalk and cheese teams, you can't get much worse and you can't get much better. The bit again, equally the same as I want to see the Packers play a good bona fide AFC team, something a bit of a different flavour. I want to see the Broncos play a good NFC team like the Packers. See how they handle like a team that is built to win, and see who comes out on top. I think that's going to be a great game. That's going to be one to watch. And I genuinely think the team that wins that, however they win it, has to be taken so like ultimo seriously. Especially especially either way. If the Broncos beat the Packers, you're like, holy crap, they can beat a good team. And if the Packers beat the Broncos, you go, holy crap, they can beat a good defense. So watch out.
Yeah, something we've actually not done yet is beat a good defense.
So let's see. Good stuff. That's game recaps done. Last thing to talk about is the game that has not yet been played. Many a fantasy implication across the board, especially for the boys on this podcast. Lots could happen. Lots and lots could happen. And we're all holding out hope or reservations as to what's going to come from the Chargers-Eagles game. Camo has pulled back the comeback of a lifetime if he makes the playoffs. Literally the comeback of a lifetime. There was a moment during this fantasy league that it almost looked nigh on impossible for Cam to ever make the playoffs. It just needed one more point or one more win, and it was mathematically impossible to do. And it looks like, I'd say right now, there's probably a 60-40 chance that you're going to make it into the playoffs, Cam, which is great for you and good effort to get your team there. Dave, we've been sat comfortably near the top for a long while, so not too much in terms of implications, but obviously everybody wants to win, try and get a bye week.
Say both of you might end up missing out on the bye week.
Absolutely, that's what I'm saying. It's so close, and if we miss out on the bye week, then we might have to end up playing you, and goddamn, you're in trouble if you win. But yeah, I think this game, Eagles-Chargers, I mean, my money is all over the Eagles this week, which is weird because they're both 8-4 teams, and the Eagles have looked a little bit stale. But I just can't see the Chargers doing it this week. I don't know why. I think it's
at the Chargers.
It's at the Chargers, but who cares? The Chargers don't have any fans anyway. There's probably going to be more Eagles in the stadium than there is Chargers.
Indoors, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know who that benefits, really. I think if the Eagles want to be taken seriously and still considered like, Super Bowl viable, they've got to go in and beat the Chargers. I don't think the Chargers have looked great over the last few weeks. They started hot and then have been average. So is Herbie injured or is he good to go?
I think he's playing. He had surgery, didn't he? But I think he's playing.
Right.
On his hand.
He'll have his hand bandaged up. I will go a medium scoring game for this one. I think the Eagles win. I think they win like 24 to the Chargers 17. That would be my rough guess. 24-17. And we need a lot more to happen than that, generally speaking, for fantasy purposes. But I think that's where it's going to go. Boys, where do you reckon? Eagles or Chargers? Dave?
The Chargers. I think the Chargers will beat them. In a normal year when we're not living in the upside down, I'd say the Eagles. But the fact that this year has been so, when it comes to football and trying to pick teams, I'm going to pick the exact opposite of what I actually think, and I'm going to say the Chargers are going to win.
That's not a bad logic. If you were picking accumulators and betting on things like that this year, you could have won a whole bunch of money by picking on those that were not expected to win. Camo, Chargers, Eagles.
I've got the Eagles winning, Hurts throwing for 3 touchdowns.
If he does, your fantasy's going to be tight.
Yep. As long as that's AJ Brown, I'm okay.
Exactly. Good stuff. That's the last game to come. But I mean, it has big implications as well, moving into the playoffs for home field advantage, for progression into playoffs, for seeding purposes. Both of these teams look like they could and are going to make the playoffs. 8-4 each. The win takes them to 9-4. I guess a loss here is a big one because 8-5 is not a particularly amazing record, whilst it will still get you into the playoffs most years. Who knows this year? But for now, that's everything. It's a wrap on week 15. The end is near. 4 weeks left of the regular season. Tension is high. Every win matters. Playoff race is about to explode. Please follow us on our socials. Share us with your football-loving family and friends at In the End Zone UK on Instagram. And if you want to share your slap or signs with us, please send them through. Boys, appreciate you being on the podcast.
Cam didn't want to say goodbye.
Oh, Cam's gone. Dave's about to leave. So for now,
Goodbye.
that's slap or sign. That's In the End Zone. Cheers. Bye-bye then. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Catch me balling like I'm in the end zone. I got my homies in the no new friend zone. You know, making plays that land us in the end zone. Coming in clutch, you can catch me in the end zone. End zone.